Welcome to the 611 Films YouTube channel. We are back in 99. My name is David Groves, is one of your hosts. With me as always,
Neil McKay. Let's go back to 1999.
we're going back. A movie I haven't seen. It's called Man on the Moon with Jim Carrey.
Well, you've seen it now.
I have seen it now. Yes.
You haven't seen
Didn't
it.
see it.
You just saw it. So
I did just see it. That's true. A little bit. I'm meaning I did not see it when it came out. Didn't know anything about
Is
Andy
there
Kaufman.
a reason
anything.
you didn't watch it? Like that you didn't watch it in the last?
I think it was one of those movies like anything else that just kind of passes you by, and once it does, you just never really think to watch it.
Because I was the opposite. I saw it right when it came out, and it came out around Christmas time. I don't know if it came out on Christmas Day, but it was like whenever it came out, like I saw it.
Okay.
And it was a girl that I was working with, and it's one of those classic, like when I look back, I'm like, oh man, what? Like, I don't know how I screwed this up, but like, I mean, I was into her, she was into me, and then it was and somehow I messed it up. So
was this at the theater?
No. It was like we I guess I don't know if I would say we were like dating, but we were hanging out, and it was like it seemed like, oh yeah, this is gonna go in that trajectory, and then it just kind of anyway. I screwed it up for a variety of reasons, but I do remember going with her to see this movie in the theaters. So that's why I did that little aside, because like you kind of remember where you were or what you were doing.
Sure. No. Yeah, that's another reason why we do this. Like it just has that thing we've mentioned before, like or with other actors. Like this is that golden age of Jim Carrey sort of trying to get out of the silly Dumb and Dumber Ace Venturas.
Samsonite. I was way off.
And more into his dramatic, let me try to win an Oscar phase.
Yeah, it didn't really quite work out for him, but I applaud the guy, because after doing this, Truman Show, Eternal Sunshine, I mean, and then he did like other stuff. Like I know he was serious in The Majestic, and that didn't do very well, which also came out. Oh, did it come out in 99 or 2002?
I don't know. That's another one I haven't seen.
It's kind of like, man, but it was like that whole thing. Like, yeah, it's like, hey, I'm not just like this like kind of guy, and yeah, I mean it worked. I mean, and he was like spot on as Andy Kaufman in this.
Sure.
I mean, and there's all the stories where he was like such a method actor, like he wouldn't only respond to Andy on set, and he was just almost like insufferable to deal with because he was so in character, and it was like, dude, can you just like
they have that funny little intro of this is the end, and they start doing credits, and you gotta I knew Andy Kaufman was sort of a weirdo, sort of this just crazy, just do anything for he very theatrical, but I didn't know how far he went with all that stuff until really seeing this.
Yeah,
I was like,
I think there was like some interest that came out in the mid to late 90s or something like that, because there was like a documentary or like TV shows, or maybe I was like reading up on something, but like I felt like I already knew all of these stories before seeing Man on the Moon, so I was just really more or less like I knew what was going to happen in the movie. I just wanted to see how the Hollywood movie would do it with Jim Carrey and stuff.
Right.
So I kind of already knew like the legends of these things, and then you're watching the movie and people were like, oh, that was like a total ruse. Like that wasn't even like the stuff with Jerry Lawler, the wrestler. Like they were like buddies in real life, and they made it so convincing when they went on like Letterman and like the whole thing, the fiasco. And I've even heard recently that Letterman was in on it. Like he knew what was going to happen. And it was just so crazy because he had everybody fooled with these, these hijinks that he did. And it was all like pre-planned, like,
right.
Like, wow,
that was, I was kind of like, all right, are these guys real? I feel like it's a gimmick. And then when it came out to be like the next scene, or there was that shot or scene where they're with Danny DeVito's agent character, and they're both like, no, man, you did great. Hey, we're in on the bit together. I was like, oh, of course.
Yeah, it's like, it was, and he was such a prankster. I mean, to the point, I mean, it would, it's tragic that he died and everything, but he was so good at what he did that people thought that he really did fake his death. And it was like, I mean, he wasn't a smoker, and he died of lung cancer. And it was like, people were like, are you serious? You have lung cancer? Like that? No, come on. Is this
even his sister in the movie, like, is like, come on, look at they're analyzing the doctor and his shoe and outfits and like.
And it's like, it's just
when you're a prankster and lying all the time, what's the truth? I mean, I can kind of see that whole thing.
Yeah.
The one thing I was going to ask you, since I had just seen it, I don't know how they might have done this, but when he's on that taxi set and you've got all the actors staring at him, were they like Christopher Lloyd, Mary Lou Henner, I think, or on that set, and they're watching him do this? Like, I didn't know if they had brought the actors back to recreate that, or
I think I'd have to look at the specific scene you're talking about, but yes, I mean they had like that really was Jerry Lawler in the Letterman bit, like the wrestler,
right? Well, yeah,
he's 20 years older, but I'm pretty sure like Christopher Lloyd, Judd Hirsch, Mary Lou Henner,
they came back for.
I think they all came back to do this, and I even with the whole. You remember the scene where the cue cards where Michael Richards goes. Well, that's how I think. Was he in this one too? Did he come back to recreate that part?
That was actually Norm Macdonald that had the cue cards.
Yeah.
In that
So
one scene.
they picked and choose like who. Like sometimes they brought back the same person to recreate it, and sometimes they just got somebody else. So the Norm Macdonald one. Now I remember this now. So that was Michael Richards, Kramer from Seinfeld, who took the cue cards and threw it and like, dude, say your lines.
Yeah,
like, that was in. And that was a crappy show called Fridays that was trying to compete with. It was like Saturday Night Live, but on Fridays.
Right.
But that's actually weird little sidebar thing. That's where Larry David and Michael Richards like met each other, and that's how they kind of where Seinfeld came from. Because Larry David was a cast member and a writer on that show. But
interesting tidbit. I'm not into the jokester, like Impractical Jokers or the punk stuff. It's always very cringy for me. So starting to watch this movie, I was like 10-15 minutes in, I was like, oh god, he's gonna be like this the whole time? And he is. But I did like the progression of how he still had the Paul Giamatti and Danny DeVito, and then Courtney Love, who comes out of nowhere after People versus Larry Flint to this. And
this was part of her thing where it was like, oh man, Courtney Love's got some acting chops, like you said.
But it was like it was good to I liked the progression of it where it became more heartfelt, and even though he's being silly and stuff, you're getting to be in on the joke. If you didn't like me, who didn't know anything about Andy Kaufman, really.
Yeah, it is a very interesting, like, whatever that kind of humor is, it walks a fine line. Like, sometimes I think it's, like, brilliantly done, and then sometimes I'm like, ugh. Like, I think Sacha Baron Cohen does it very well, like, with Borat and Bruno and Ali G and all that stuff. Tom Green was another one that, like, walked the line. Like, sometimes it was funny, sometimes it was like, this is awful.
Really
Please
cringy.
Stop doing this, like whatever this is.
Like I said, I enjoyed it. I'm sorry Carrey did not get I don't think he got nominated either.
No.
Was he? Yeah.
No, this was, I mean, this is, and even after like Eternal Sunshine, it was sort of like, I think you then came to the realization that like Hollywood the Academy just did not respect this guy. Like they were so like with Ace Ventura that they couldn't. I mean, the same thing sort of happened with like Eddie Murphy, like when he did what was the movie with Jennifer Hudson that she won, the musical, and then he was nominated for Best Supporting Actor.
Eddie Murphy? Dreamgirls.
And then he did.
I didn't know he was in that.
Oh yeah, no, he was nominated. That was the whole thing. Like, is he going to win, or is Bill Murray going to win, or no? Who won?
Oh, that was
what.
That was I was thinking you were thinking Jamie Foxx with Ray, but with Jennifer Hudson.
This was Best Supporting Actor, and whoever Eddie Murphy was up against, it was like a neck and neck. Bill Murray and Sean Penn was like Best Actor. This was Best Supporting Actor, and whoever he was up against, like he had a legit shot. Like he was the front runner to win, and then whoever he lost to won because Norbit came out, and the Academy was like, we can't give the Oscar to this nonsense. And I think
it's pretty funny, actually. I mean, like a couple times.
But that's I think they held a grudge against Jim Carrey for like, we can't give an Academy Award to Dumb and Dumber. Like, and even though he's doing great work, it was like, and that was kind of the thing with Jim Carrey, was like they just never respected him, and I was like,
I know, the Oscar. As much as I love him, it's the prestige, the elites,
so like, sometimes it's just
get your head out of your asses, people.
Yeah, you want to talk about cringeworthy.
All right, well, that's a good note to end with right there. Go check out Man on the Moon. Really like to thank you guys for watching this episode of Back in 99. Give it a comment, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, all that good stuff. And we'll see you again on the next episode. Back in 99.